Tonight we listen to the President's State of the Union address. It's always a memorable occasion when the President comes to the House of Representatives and addresses a joint session of Congress. Early in his speech, though, he said the Taliban's momentum has been broken, in essence, that we had them on the run. Simply not the case. I was in Afghanistan within the last 2 weeks. I've also met with the Northern Alliance that makes up about 60% of Afghanistan or so. These are the allies we had when the Taliban were initially defeated. They say the Taliban's back strong as ever. We had the Northern Alliance disarmed. They're the natural enemies of our enemy, the Taliban. They're Muslims, but they're not the radicals like the Taliban. We work together. The supplies for the Taliban are coming in from Pakistan, most generally. We could do some good things there if we started pushing for Baluchistan to take up the southern part of Pakistan. They're our friends. They're our allies. They'd be great allies and friends. And they would cut off the supplies to the Taliban. But one of the leaders that this administration let out of detainment, Guantanamo, a leader of the Taliban, for humanitarian purposes, we were told, is now back fighting with the Taliban, leading the Taliban, and was on Afghanistan television in the last 2 weeks announcing that the United States has been defeated. And he said that the United States is now begging the Taliban to come negotiate with them. From objective standpoints, it appears that's what this administration is doing, because they have announced to the Taliban, look, we'll let go all of the Taliban murderers of American troops if you'll just come negotiate with us. And we'll even buy you a princely office in Qatar so that it will legitimize you instead of just being a terrorist organization if you'll just come negotiate. Well, that's what the Taliban's announcing. They're begging us to negotiate, and the other thing they announced on television in Afghanistan was, now that we're about to be in charge again as the U.S. leaves, if you've not been loyal to the Taliban, you need to come beg our forgiveness. This administration is hurting us internationally, our reputation, our allies. He also brought up energy. Now, I was thrilled to hear him admit that we have enough natural gas, oil, right here in America, that we could produce the energy we need for 100 years. Actually, it's more than that if we produce what we've got. He also said that we need to quit being obstructionists to construction jobs coming back. That sounds like he's talking about himself. He's been the biggest obstructionist to the Keystone Pipeline. That would provide more energy independence. He's been the biggest obstructionist when it comes to building projects because of the EPA and all of the grief that they're giving to people trying to get things going. He's even used the Department of Justice in North Dakota to prevent the oil companies there from producing from the biggest oil finds since Prudhoe Bay in Alaska. So he's harassing them, the Department of Justice, the EPA, all these things. So we could be energy independent, but it's going to take his administration stopping the obstructionism. He also mentioned taxes. He said he wants everyone to pay their fair share. And yet then he goes into how some people are going to pay more, like millionaires. But then he says if you make under $250,000, your taxes won't go up. Well, people that make $250,000 are not millionaires. And if we look at what he has done instead of just what he said, in his jobs bill, he massively increased taxes on anybody who is married making more than $125,000. If you were living together, not married, which apparently he prefers, you could make as much as $200,000 to $250,000 before your taxes went up. Still, those are not millionaires. He says one thing, he does another. The solution is clear. Let's have a flat tax across the board. And that way, if you're a multimillionaire, you pay your fair share, not lesser rate than everybody else. If you're lower middle class, struggling to get into the middle class, you're paying the same percentage, which is a whole lot less in taxes than anybody else. Let's get real, let's be fair. A flat tax will get us there. And there were numerous other things. It sounds like he wants not an independent school district, but a national dependent school district where he gets to call all the shots for education. That's how we got in so much of the problem we're in now. The federal government taking over education. It wasn't a good thing when the Bush administration did No Child Left Behind. It's not a good thing when this administration has taken that and exponentially increased the federal government's involvement. Let's return the control of education back where it belongs. There are a lot of things we can do. Like I say, I'm delighted he now realizes we have energy that we can produce and utilize for our own best interests. But another thing that did concern me, he said American companies are hiring again. Apparently he hasn't gotten the word. They're hiring in China and India. That's got to stop. We need to encourage American energy, American companies to hire in America. And he needs to quit obstructing. Thank you. God bless you.